All right, Chukwudi Okoli Ogbaja is here with us this morning. Chukwudi, good to see you.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
We have seen the last, spate of cold. It's not going to do more than 2 more weeks. And gradually we step into the heat. Victor, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. I didn't know you have become
Meteorologist.
Meteorologist?
Yeah.
God give me
So many games. Anyway, yeah.
All right, so let's see what the papers have this morning. We begin with the Business NG. The Business NG leads with FG scraps 5% telecom tax, offers relief to subscribers. That's on page 2. It's in the red strip right there. And we have raw for commercial papers soar as overdrafts bonds lose appeal. Below the picture story, we have appeal court takes custody of DHL's oil cargo and $600 million row with First Bank. We want to find out what that's about, and we have Naira breaks 1,500 Naira to the dollar, strongest since March. Above the masthead, FG clarifies indigenous contractors can bid for road projects above 20 billion Naira. And finally, INEC clears 14 associations in fresh political party registration bid. All of that's in the Business NG this morning. We'll move on to the People's Daily now. The People's Daily leads with terrorism. That's the kicker. The caption: Court jails Sansari leader Mahmoud Usman for 15 years. Above that story, just below the masthead, we have NAPTIP releases 2025 results, surpasses previous year's enrollment by 37%. And we have 14 political parties scale INEC's first hurdle for registration also right here. And below the picture story, we have FG expresses concern about Israel's airstrike in Qatar, calls for peaceful engagement. Some of the headlines at the bottom of the front page, we have ADC clarifies court order, says no injunction granted against David Mark, Arif Bishola. Tinubu gives matching order to further crash food prices. That's good news. Details on page 9 of the People's Daily. And then we have Tinubu to address world leaders at UN General Assembly on September 24th. And finally, federal government to develop framework for states to establish vehicular emissions testing centers. You want to find out what that's about? Page 3 will do you good. Victor.
All right, I have the blueprint here. And the lead story is anxiety as resident doctors extend industrial action. Ultimatum by 24 hours. Anxiety as resident doctors extend industrial action ultimatum by 24 hours. COOUTH Anambra NAD chapter proceeds on warning strike. Insists on 100% payment of MRTF. Okay, details of that on page 8. And sports, bureaucracy killing sports in Nigeria, says Philip Shaibu, former Edo Deputy Governor. That's on page 32. The other stories, most of which we have taken in the other dailies, but this one, FCCPC recovers 10 billion naira for aggrieved consumers in 6 months. Banking tops list with 3,173 complaints. Fast-selling consumer goods, 1,543. That's on page 8. And just above the nameplate, party registration, 14 out of 171 associations qualified for next stage, says INEC. Details of that, you get it on page 8. And the tiny strip just at the bottom of the front page of the blueprint, Noun clarifies position on selection of next VC. You get details on page 6. And the final 3, Borno, Gombe, Kaduna not paying 70,000 naira minimum wage to LG staff. That's credited to Norgay, and the details are on page 19. Troops rescue 17 kidnapped victims in Kogi is on page 18. And NOA vows sanctions on abusers of Nigeria's national symbols. Details on page 6. Chooks the boy.
Yeah, thank you, Victor. Anxiety as doctors extend their ultimatum, for an industrial action. You simply get mentally tired listening to these continuation of we go, no go, and all that. Actually, there are two of them, ASU and the resident doctors. They seem to be competing for who takes the baton first to the finish line in concerning these ultimatums. But let us address quickly what the doctors are talking about. We all agree that all professionals in Nigeria, starting with Victor and ERA, because I'm involved, this is my territory, deserve better working conditions. But having said that, there's this bias one demonstrates for health. When you talk about the NHS in the UK, that is enough to sack the British Prime Minister if the populace think that all's not going well with it. You talk about HHS in the US, that's the Health and Human Services Department. It's enough to, well, maybe not under Trump, because he and JFK, that Kennedy Jr. Are handing gloves over how they want to run health in the US. But the point we're making is that health is always a number one issue. And I like the way the federal government is going about funding health now. The other time, the Minister of Health was here, and I was glad when the talk is now on ways we want to fund health. We are beginning to realize that health is not a dance a short man can easily watch. You need a ladder. So that ladder they're building is going to increase the height so we can see into what health really needs. So the bias would always be there for health workers. But that's not to say that
other professionals are not
exactly, and that it should become something you tout every other day. We're going, we're not going. I think we need to do something final about it. Somebody was actually saying, one of the bits I read up yesterday, the FCT minister should not be known for just commissioning roads and bridges, blah, 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 blah. That human capital is the first thing to pay attention to. I read that argument somewhere. You can see that they're now particularizing in terms of development. Whereas in real terms, development is supposed to be spread. No area should be left behind. None should be ignored.
Yeah, great point, Chukudi. The story that interests me this morning is FCCPC recovers 10 billion naira for aggrieved consumers in 6 months. And the report goes on to say that banking tops the list with 3,173 complaints. And the question I'm asking is, if FCCPC wasn't working, like the way some other agencies are not working, what happens to these monies of people that, banking transactions are very clear. There are things that can be traced and corrected as fast as possible. So when customers are debited, unlawfully, or whatever it is that leads to your money hanging somewhere, yes, the banking system should be able to correct those mistakes and refund monies to their customers. But we see situations where you write to the bank, so you apply and all of that, and they don't. So for these consumers or customers, they took it a step further, took it to FCCPC, and now they have their monies back. And I'm saying, when would this stop? Because how many Nigerians can actually, go the extra mile? That is
the great question, from all the things you have mentioned so far. How many Nigerians can afford to get up to that level? Even when your environment is abused where you live, do you know that the people you see drive the Toyota cars and the Renaults and all that, they don't even complain, let alone the man you are messing up the front of his house. The point I'm making, my dear, is that self-correcting mechanism should be in place. You don't have to wait for the stick before you do that which you should do. Because in some other climes, nobody even can listen to that. After 24 hours, there's no reversal.
Exactly.
You are in trouble and all that. It all resulted from their knowing that it could always be taken for granted and not much would happen to them. We are now happy that the agency is saying, no, it's not going to be business as usual. Consumer protection is real in any economy that respects basic human rights. Very important. So I like it. About as we jubilate that these banks that think they can hold your money
should do the right thing.
You know, as we jubilate, we should also remember that those of us who take online loans and we're not repaying, it will get to us. And then they are going to say, hey, you've not paid. It's going to, fair is fair. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let there be fairness all over. That's it.
All right. Chukwudi, I wanted to draw your attention to something, but I'm told
You wanted to
go.
don't do anything.
So let me let you go and wish you a great weekend.
When he said draw your attention to something, my mind went very far.
I know.
It may not be in the papers.
Please come back from the long journey. Your mind is
It's
engaged.
a telecom issue. I think that's something to cheer.
Okay, the 5%.
Yeah, the 5%
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Some other